We continue then with our sermon for this morning. This is July 28th of 2024. This is the ninth Sunday after the Feast of Holy Trinity. And the text appointed is from the Gospel of Luke, the 16th chapter, verses 1 through 9. And he said this also unto his disciples, There was a certain rich man which had a steward, and the same was accused unto him that he had wasted his goods. And he called him and said unto him, How is it that I hear this of thee? Give an account of thy stewardship, for you may no longer be steward. So the steward said within himself, What will I do? My Lord is taking away from me the stewardship. I cannot dig. To beg I am ashamed. I know what I'll do, that when I'm put out of the stewardship, they will receive me into their houses. So he called every one of his Lord's debtors unto him, and said to the first, How much do you owe my Lord? And he said, 100 measures of oil. And he said, Take your bill, sit down quickly, and write 50. He said to another, How much do you owe? And he said, 100 measures of wheat. And he said to him, Take your bill and write 60. 80. Fourscore, 80. And the Lord commended the unjust steward because he had done wisely, for the children of this world are in their generation wiser than the children of light. And I say unto you, make to yourselves friends of the mammon of unrighteousness, that when you fail, they may receive you into everlasting habitations. Here ends that portion of the text. We're focusing on verse 8. And Lord commended the unjust steward because he had done wisely. For the children of this world are in their generation wiser than the children of light. Here ends that portion of the gospel text. It sounds as though Jesus is congratulating this crook for being crooked. Because that's exactly what he had done. Before he was fired and taken out of his job, he ingratiated himself to everyone that he had done business with and for his master. And so it was a shrewd, sly, crafty move on his part. Basically, it was stealing from his employer to benefit himself. And everyone that he had done business with immediately knew that they were getting a really good deal here, and who it was that was giving them this deal, because it was right on the spot. And so Jesus looks at this and says, yeah, wow, well done you. Crooked, yes. Thieving, yes. Lying, yes. Dishonest, yes. Well done. Does that sound like Jesus? I'm sure there's a lot of Christians all over the place that would say, oh, no, he was kidding. No, he wasn't kidding. He of all people, knows exactly how this world works. How does he know? Is he some pious little teacher? Every sin of all time, of all creation, past, present, and future, was called his own. He knew every sin. He knew every creepy, nasty, little shifty thing that people have ever done. Not only does he know it, he's guilty of it. Jesus is probably the guiltiest human that has ever lived, by far. For it was said through Isaiah that upon him the sins of us all were laid, and like a sheep to the slaughter. Why do you think he was led to the slaughter by his Father? On purpose. Because he was guilty as hell. And so when Jesus speaks of someone who's shifty, someone who's thieving and just lying, stinking, rotten, he knows what he's talking about. Because he's speaking from his own. Now that sounds completely wrong. But this is the mystery of who Jesus is for us. And we see this in verse 8. Let me read verse 8 one more time. And the Lord commended the unjust steward because he had done wisely. For the children of this world are in their generation wiser than the children of light. Jesus isn't complimenting. Jesus isn't congratulating the shrewd, lying, stealing, grifting, nasty little manager that the employer had over his goods. He's just acknowledging that this is what a lot of people do. You get your car and the mechanic says, you kicked me back a few $100 and we'll just call it total. The insurance company will pay us good money and you give me some of it. Because, boy, I look under the hood here. It's a wreck, isn't it? Oh, yeah. It's a wreck. Yeah. Just sign the form here. Okay. How much will I get? That's how the world works. Lying, thieving, stealing, conniving, grifting. That is the world. At every conceivable level. A lot of people go into marriage thinking, oh, what a great thing. This is fabulous. A wonderful life. This is a wonderful person. And a short time later, and not even a long time later, short time later, they find out what a lying, thieving, mean cretin. What a good-for-nothing, useless piece of garbage. Wow. And now I'm in a contract with this piece of trash? That's why the divorce rate in a lot of areas is over 75% in our country. It doesn't work. Of all the weddings as a pastor I did throughout my lifetime, I'd say from my own counting, around 90% are divorced. And I'm being generous here to say 10% aren't. It's probably closer to 100%. And they went through all the standard testing and the standard personality analysis and all that stuff, They did all that. They had the pre-wedding stuff and all that. And it did nothing, meant nothing because people on their core are lying, thieving, stealing, good for nothing. And that's the core of human. And marriage is the ultimate playground. And then God help you if you have kids, because aren't they the sweetest little angels? Until they set the house on fire. Until they stomp their feet and they say, I hate you. And that's exactly how it goes. And then the parents discover, my kids hate me. They're stealing from my wallet, which that's kind of old. Now they just use your computer and your phone and order stuff that they want and don't even tell you. So it doesn't matter if they're little or big, male or female, employee or employer, and God help us with politicians. There's the ultimate. My mother-in-law used to say, they may have been good when they started, but boy, they're garbage when they finish. And, she was 80-some years old when she said that. She'd seen the world for a bit, and, I think maybe she was right. She didn't miss out on that one at all. Real garbage. I mean, Stalin, you know what his platform was when he started out? Family values. The family farm. And then who ended up slaughtering tens of millions of his own people? The guy who preached family values to them. Just a piece of monstrous trash. You find that throughout the world. There's no lovely country in the world. Anywhere. And that's always the case. Travel some. Find out for yourself. If you haven't traveled, don't even comment. So this is what Jesus is talking about. The unjust steward is exactly what Jesus titles him. He's a manager who lies, steals, cheats. And why? Because he's going to get something out of it. He's skimming in a major way, even though he's being fired, to get something off the top. That's why these days they walk you out the door with security guards on both sides, take your keys away, change all your passwords, don't tell you what's happening till the minute it happens, so you can't do this, because people do this. So Jesus speaks from knowledge, from experience, and from what is in his own heart. Because when the Father accuses him of sin, he's not missing the mark. He's dead on. When he brings him to the cross to kill him, the Father does it on purpose. It wasn't the Jews that did this. It wasn't the Romans that planned this. They didn't even exist. God hadn't even made the Jews a nation under Moses when he planned this. This is his design. And so that's what he did. And so when Jesus looks at the whole scheme of things, he says, look, there's really only two people left. Two kinds of people. There's children of this, it's in the English it says world. Children of this world. That's not what it says. I get my glasses on for this. Houyoi tu ionos. Children of this age. So children of this age, and that's verses tous uius tu photos, children of the light. And as we know from the Gospel of John, God is that light. That light became flesh, was born, lived among us. That's God. So there are children of God, and there are children of the generation, of the time. That's it. That's all that is in this world. But you notice what it doesn't say? It doesn't say good people and bad people. It doesn't say that. Why? Because anybody who's been in a church knows something. It's the number one reason why people quit church, in my own experience, from being active pastor for 35 years in the parish and 4 years emeritus beyond. So I think I speak from some knowledge. Number one reason I've been told why people quit church. It's a hellscape. It's an awful place. I'm miserable there. People just treat me and my kids like I had a baby who cried. And the old lady came by and says, "Can't you keep that kid quiet?" Well, the kid is 3 months old. What would you like me to do, witch? And that's real. That's an actual example. My kids, raised in church, I can't begin to tell you those stories. And so the one thing Jesus doesn't say is that this world is comprised of good people and bad people. Why? Because everyone's bad. There is no one good. Jesus and the Father said, there is none that is righteous. No, not one. I've looked about this world. There are none that are righteous, God has said over and over and over again. So who are the children of photos? Houyui ton photos, tois photos. Who are they? If they're not the good ones versus the bad ones. Well, you had an abortion. You can't go to heaven. Well, yes, you can. Well, you do this. You do that. I don't. Well, you're more likely to go to hell then. because you're looking down your eye at another person, when in fact your eye is filled with sin too. So it's not the good versus the bad. Well, then what's the difference between the children of this age and the children of the light, children of God? It's very simple. It's who you belong to. Do you belong to the world, the age, sin and death? Ultimately, just simply death. Or do you belong to God? Which doesn't mean that you're a good person. Let me just spell that now. That's not what a Christian is, or a child of God by any name. It's just simply one who looks to God for help and finds there the help they seek. What kind of help? God, be merciful to me, a sinner. That's it. That's it. That's the long and short. There's nothing more to it. That's all. And God says, oh, I already have. Didn't you know? I took your sin away from you. It's gone. The word here for wiser isn't a root from sophos. Sophos in Greek is the wisdom, whatever. The word that is in here, it comes from phrane, phranon. It means in Greek, or it's Greek reference to the Hebrew. In Hebrew, the lower intestines are where the primal urges are felt in human life. And it's from the guts, the saphlagias in Greek, that you find the most raw emotions. And you know that. It's like getting hit in the gut. You instantly know something horrible or very good has happened. This word, phranen, it comes a little higher. It's thinking that includes the guts, but also the diaphragm, because that's what the Greek word for diaphragm is. It's compassion considered. And the people of this generation, they have compassion for themselves. That's what they have compassion for. Do I have enough of this? More than enough? Do I have too much of this? Who cares? Have I helped anyone else? Why would I bother? But the children of the light, children of God, they look around at life differently. I'm not saying they're good, but they see things through a different lens. God has had mercy on them. God isn't going to kill them. In fact, death won't touch them, ever. They're going to taste death and then go, see ya! And right off into life forever with God. This is the difference. And how do they see and treat the world differently? I can't tell you. That's up to you. Just don't be a total rat. Try not to be too nasty. I mean, it's a shades of gray here, isn't it? But it's something that only you can figure out on your own, in your own circumstances. And the thing about your life is you get no do-overs, and the merry-go-round stops. God has a book, and your day is in there. The day you die. The day he comes to kill you. Because all death, by any type, is when God comes to kill. He says, I alone make alive, I alone bring to the grave. God is the only one that kills. And when he's going to take you is in his book. So you've got X amount of time. He's just not sharing that. So not knowing it means use it wisely, from the guts, considered from the diaphragm area. How you consider and form opinions and thoughts and actions from this. And the unique thing about this word is that it oftentimes is for the good, tending towards compassion. So, When Jesus says this, a lot of people get this piece of scripture completely wrong because they have no idea what it actually says. But that is what it says. That is why Jesus uses this comparison. So, anyways, enough on this text from Luke 18, verse 6, 8, Luke 16, focusing on verse 8. This has been retired Pastor Karl Schmidt from Calvary Lutheran Church, Little Lutheran Church in Amherst, New York. Hope you're having a good day. Take care. Done.